Dory 1, this is Fire Team Delta. Dad's coming home.
Welcome to the Military Veteran Dad Podcast, where it is our mission to bring every dad home. I am your host, Ben Killoy. I'm a United States Marine veteran, husband, and a father. We will bring authentic conversations to inspire action in your life so we can close the gap between the dad you are today and the dad you want to be tomorrow. This is the Military Veteran Dad Podcast. Welcome back to Fatherhood Friday. Guys, it feels really good to be on the microphone because I'm not talking into my microphone. I'm talking into my old classic Logitech USB because my normal podcast microphone decided to bite the dust tonight. And so Military Veteran Dad get hit by Murphy's Law. We're going to recorrect that, hopefully maybe improve some of the audio because opportunity for this creates opportunity to grow. And I'm going to use my own advice and take this opportunity to try to improve the audio quality for this podcast. So hold on with me as I get through this Fatherhood Friday and probably this upcoming interview for next coming Monday. And once we get past that, we'll probably be able to bring you a better microphone and hopefully better audio quality. So hang on tight. But getting to today's episode, I want you to think about focusing on your controllables. Now, I say it that way, focus on your controllables, because that's military lingo. When you are focused on trying to take a hill, if we were to use an example of the captain just came down and said, we've got orders to take that hill. There are a lot of uncontrollables on that hill. You may not know where the enemy is. You may not know where the traps are. You may not know where you have cover. But there are a lot of things in that example that you do have control over. And so within that example, I want you to think about what you can control. Maybe you've had some of the similar things that has happened to me in 2020 happen to you. Maybe you've had different things than what's happened to me. No matter what has happened to you, one, good reminder, remember that it's happening for you in some deep way that you may not be able to see in that moment. And two, there are always things that we can control. There is a process that I've used within my own life that when something happens, whether it be a coworker, when I had a job, maybe it's my kids, maybe it's an interaction or conversation that I had with my wife, there are two big questions I ask myself when it didn't go right. One of them is, what did I do leading up to this conversation that could have prevented it? That maybe I did not get the outcome that I wanted. Maybe it went completely off the rails very quickly. And there's a lot of reasons that may have happened. But again, I can only focus on my controllables. So within that context, I always ask, what did I do earlier that helped make this moment come true? Maybe it was I didn't come home through the door in the right way. Maybe it was I didn't follow up to an email earlier prior to a meeting where we had this confrontation. There was always something that I could find that was kind of like an early indicator. And that early indicator helped me understand how I could get control to help engineer that moment in the future. And knowing that question helps bring it back within your control. It is so easy. And if you've been following my story, you know that a huge component of my story is blaming others for what I don't have in life. And it was only when I took radical control of all the variables that I had control over, ignored the ones that I had no control over, and focused on myself that things started change. So when something doesn't go your way, think about how did I help this moment come? And the second question is, what could I do to prevent it from ever happening again? What new procedure could I implement within my own life? Let's use some business mindset here. What new procedure could I implement into that moment or the future moments that will always deliver a better outcome? I'll go down the rabbit hole of business. You may be familiar with something called ISO 9000. It's a very popular manufacturing certification. It's popular with a lot of different companies out there that manufacture goods. And the basic idea is, how do you repeat 100% success in delivering exactly a quality product to a customer over and over and over and over again? Part of that process is learning, failing, documenting, and improving. Well, within this context of a conversation or whatever happened or whatever you're applying this piece of wisdom to, there is always things you can control. And you want to identify what was the core reason that this happened. A good example within ISO is ask why 5 times. Why did this happen? Why didn't this person know how to do their job? Who was supposed to train them to do their job? Maybe it wasn't documented. Maybe a tool wasn't in the right location that would have made this job happen faster and better and cheaper. And because that tool is on the other side of the workbench, it takes him longer and it's less likely he'll go to get that right tool, maybe use the wrong tool. Or maybe a shipment didn't go out on time. Maybe it was boxed in the wrong package. Maybe it went to the wrong address. That is something that can happen a lot. Or maybe it went the wrong speed. Maybe it was supposed to go next day. Maybe it went ground. Every time those moments happen in business, and if you work in a business, and even if you own a business, these processes exist to deliver whatever service or goods you do, there's always the moment where something happened. And this happens in military as well. When you have a mission failure, you always go back and do an after-action review of how could we prevent this to increase safety, increase the quality of the output, the training that we were going through to deliver a better result. Now, that process, whether it be ISO, business, doesn't matter, military after-action review, all of it is identifying the controllables, identifying the levers that can be pulled during the next time this moment happens that increases the likelihood that you have success. And when you do that, you understand that you, not anybody else, can begin to change your life. Now, this is a huge component when you realize that you have a choice. There's been a lot of different information that I've been diving into within this idea of virtual, and I've been working on different discipline strategies, different conversations. How do you get better to a closer scream-free mindset? And one of the bigger ones that I'm learning about is, as a parent, making sure that I gift my kids the ability to understand there is always a choice. Everything they do is a choice. I do not want to be someone that exerts control over my kids. I want them to understand there's always a choice that they have control over to influence, to change, and improve upon. And when they understand this, then they can understand that they can help prevent this next moment from happening. I mean, think about it with your kids. How many times do the moment, whatever the moment is that you're using an example, is on repeat? Over and over, and it's like, man, how can we break out of this cycle? Big thing that I'm learning through the research is choice, that they have a choice every time they do something, and so do we. But oftentimes we do not have that feeling. We do not feel in control of our own life. I know I did not. I felt backed into a corner. I felt lost, and I felt it was everybody else's problem. It is so easy to blame everybody else in your life for what is wrong, because then you're not accountable to anything, and you must be a perfect human being. But there are no perfect human beings. We're all human beings. We're all part of the social experiment that is humanity. And within that, there is the power to choose to improve, or there is the power to remain the same, or there's even the power to revert back to some early programming that maybe you relapse. Maybe you were in AA for 12 years and that one drink reverts back to that earlier programming. That's a perfect example. You had a choice when you decided to pick up a beverage again and start drinking. But man, when you recognize that you have a choice to win, when you choose to win, things begin to change in your mind, your heart, and your energy, and your outlook forward. Because the more things that you can find to bring under your controllables, not to control people around you, but identify the real levers in your life that can improve your life. Think about health. Health is a huge component that a lot of people don't have a good handle on, but it is 100% in your control to change the choices you make every day to have a better, healthier lifestyle. That has been something I've really dove in, and if you've been listening to the podcast for a long time, you know that the health was a huge component that I ignored because I thought I could have everything else. And I ignored it way too long, because then once I started processing it and working on it, man, things really started to move fast, because it was one of the biggest areas that I was not taking full control over, and understanding that it's my power to choose every time I eat something for a better life. So remember, you always have a choice. You have the power to choose to win or lose, or remain exactly the same. And every time you are in a heated argument, maybe with your wife, your kids, just like in business, you want a desirable outcome and you didn't get it that time. You're going to go through a process in business to produce a better outcome. Same should be applied when it happens personally. And often we don't think of this mindset of bringing our work mindset into our life, which is what this purpose of this podcast episode is. Because when you find your controllables in all the aspects of your life that you feel like are really in the pit, health, marriage, money, whatever it may be, when you find the controllables, you begin to pull those levers. And when you begin to pull those levers, things start to change. So with that, I'm signing off. I will talk to you guys again on Monday. And as always, I hope you have an amazing weekend and that some amazing things happen here. We're between 6 to 10 inches, welcoming in Wisconsin. The forecast could go either way. I'll let you know on Monday what we ended up getting. And I just hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Enjoy some great family time as we lead up into the Christmas season here. And I appreciate every one of you for listening to the podcast.